Well, hello friends, and welcome to the Story Break. This is Tommy Oakes. I hope maybe you've got a favorite cup of whatever to enjoy some time together. I just had a favorite cup of coffee, and it makes me want to tell a story, and I hope you enjoy this little story I'm going to tell you right now. I come from way up in upper East Tennessee, and I know a couple of fellas up there that live in upper East Tennessee. They live in a place so small and so remote that if I told you where it was, you wouldn't even know where it was, and you probably couldn't find it. So I'm not even going to tell you the name of the place. But I'll tell you those boys' names. One of them's named Larry, and the other's named Leroy. And Larry and Leroy are always getting themselves into trouble. And about this time last year, I thought they'd gotten themselves into trouble, but they got themselves out pretty well, and I'll tell you how. What happened was they got up one morning and they were looking at the local newspaper, and they saw an ad in the paper that there was a farmer nearby who had a mule that he wanted to sell for $100. So Larry and Leroy just counted all their money and went down to the bank and borrowed a little more. Finally wound up with $100, went over to see that farmer and gave him the $100. And he said, well, I'll have to go out in the pasture to get my mule. If you boys will come back tomorrow, I'll have him all ready for you. So Larry and Leroy left. And next morning they got up real bright and early and went over to the farmer's house, knocked on his door, and the farmer met him at the door and said, fellas, I'm sorry. I hate to tell you, but that mule that you all bought yesterday died last night. Well, them boys said, well, give us our $100 back. And the farmer said, I can't do that. I've already spent that money, and I don't have any more money. All I had was that mule. And the boys said, well, if that's all you got, then just put that mule in the back of a truck and bring it over to our house. The farmer said, well, what are you going to do with the dead mule? They said, we don't know. We'll figure out something. So the farmer got his tractor and went out and lifted up that mule, put it in the back of a truck, and rolled it over to Larry and Leroy's house and left it laying out in the front yard. Larry and Leroy were sitting on the porch sink, and then they came up with an idea. About a month later, Larry and Leroy were walking through town, and they ran into that farmer. And he said, say, fellas, what did you ever do with that mule, that dead mule? They said, oh, we did all right with that. The farmer said, what'd you do? They said, well, we decided to have a raffle and sell him off. Well, the farmer said, you can't sell a dead mule. He's no good. Well, they said he did pretty good by us. And the farmer said, well, please explain what you did. Well, Larry said what we did was we had a raffle and we sold 1,000 tickets at $2 a ticket. Wound up with $2,000. And the farmer said, $2,000 for a dead mule? Didn't anybody complain? And they said, well, one fella complained. What fella was that? The farmer wanted to know. Well, they said the fella complained was the one who won the raffle. He got real mad because we'd sold him a ticket for a dead mule. So we gave him his $2 back, and we wound up clearing $1,998 for that mule. Larry and Leroy are now working for the government. And that's the end of that story. So this is Tommy Oakes. Hope to see you next time on the Story Break.